Wanda and Strange join Doom. Doctor Strange and Wanda may not be preparing to fight Doctor Doom. They may already be part of his plan. The biggest clue is hiding in plain sight. The mysterious Latverian witches Marvel has been teasing around Doomsday. Their identities remain unconfirmed, but the costumes immediately triggered theories connecting them to Wanda, Clea, and other powerful magic users. The Wanda theory became especially interesting because Marvel has deliberately kept the Scarlet Witch's fate unresolved since Multiverse of Madness, while the new Doomsday material continues surrounding Doom with imagery tied to magic. Marvel's latest promotional coverage has also acknowledged that fans are connecting the changing witch costumes to Wanda's possible return. And Wanda is not just another character Marvel could bring back. She is one of the few people in the MCU who has already experienced the multiverse from the inside. In Multiverse of Madness, she tears through realities searching for her children, while Doctor Strange becomes directly involved with an incursion after his choices lead to another universe's destruction. That makes both characters unusually qualified to understand the threat Doom is claiming to fight. That is where the theory becomes much more interesting. Doom does not necessarily need another army. He needs people who understand magic, alternate realities, and the consequences of an incursion. Strange has already studied the phenomenon. Wanda has already crossed realities and manipulated reality itself. If Doom is offering them a way to preserve their own universe, joining him would not require either character to suddenly become evil. They could believe his solution is the only one that works. The mysterious witches make that possibility even harder to ignore. Their costumes change across Marvel's promotional display, while their faces and identities remain hidden. One current theory even suggests the witches could be existing MCU characters operating under Doom's control. And there is one final connection. Doctor Strange has always been willing to make morally dangerous choices when the alternative is losing reality itself. Wanda has already crossed that line for her children. Doom could exploit both weaknesses with the same promise. He can give them back what they lost while saving the universe they still have. So the most dangerous part of Doom's army may not be made of monsters at all. It could be made of heroes who genuinely believe Doctor Doom is right. According to YouTube, only 1% of you watching are subscribed. If you like content like this, please subscribe, it's free, and you can always change your mind later. Doom uses Tony's face. Dr. Doom's greatest weapon may not be his armor, his intelligence, or even his control over the multiverse. It may be the face underneath his mask. Robert Downey Jr. is officially playing Victor Von Doom, not Tony Stark, yet Marvel has deliberately placed the man who spent 11 years as the Avengers' most trusted hero behind its biggest villain. That choice becomes much more interesting when the alleged Doomsday plot is considered. Doom supposedly approaches the Avengers with a solution to the incursion crisis, earns their cooperation, and only later reveals that his real plan is to let the universes collide. That means Doom needs something more valuable than raw power: trust. And Tony Stark's face could give him exactly that. Tony was not just another Avenger. He was the person who helped create the team, fought alongside them through the Infinity Saga, and ultimately died saving everyone. Even if the Avengers know intellectually that the man standing before them is Victor Von Doom, seeing the exact same face would create an emotional reaction they cannot simply switch off. Recent fan discussions have already focused on the possibility that Doom could exploit this resemblance to gain the hero's trust rather than secretly being Tony himself. There is also a crucial detail in the new material. Doom comes from the Fantastic Four's universe, meaning his resemblance to Earth 616's Tony would be a genuine multiversal coincidence from the Avengers' perspective. Marvel has not confirmed that Doom intentionally chose Tony's appearance, but his understanding of different universes could allow him to recognize exactly how useful that coincidence is. And Doom would not need to impersonate Tony. He could simply remove the mask, let the Avengers recognize the face, and present himself as the man who understands the incursions better than anyone else. That makes the alleged alliance with the Avengers far more believable. Steve Rogers could believe Doom's solution is legitimate, the others could hesitate to attack him, and Doom could use their cooperation to move the pieces exactly where he needs them. That would also explain why Marvel keeps emphasizing the connection between Tony and Doom. Downey himself has described the two characters as brilliant men whose trauma sent them in opposite directions. Tony became a hero, while Doom became something far darker. So Doom does not need to be Tony Stark. He only needs the Avengers to remember what Tony Stark meant to them, because once they trust the face of their greatest hero, they may never realize that the man giving them orders has been Doctor Doom all along. X-Men destroyed Tobey's world. The first world destroyed in Avengers. Doomsday may belong to Tobey Maguire's Spider-Man, and the people responsible may be the very heroes we expect to stand beside the Avengers. The trailer already establishes the most important piece. Professor Xavier is watching an entire Earth collapse while the multiverse around him is being torn apart. And the alleged plot we're working from gives that destruction a specific explanation. Tobey's universe suffers an incursion with the X-Men's reality, forcing the X-Men to make an impossible choice. They send Wolverine and Deadpool into Tobey's world with a device capable of destroying the planet before the two universes collide completely. Recent fan discussions are independently circling this same possibility, with one widely shared plot theory specifically describing an X-Men strike team being sent to destroy Tobey's Earth to save their own. That sounds like a simple Avengers versus X-Men setup, but the incursion rules make it far darker. An incursion doesn't mean one universe is attacking another. It means two realities are occupying the same space and eventually destroying each other. Multiverse of Madness already established that this kind of collision can annihilate both universes, meaning the X-Men could be facing a choice where saving their own reality requires sacrificing another. The current fan theory landscape is also split over whether the destroyed Earth belongs to Tobey's Spider-Man or the Fox X-Men, which makes identifying that world one of the trailer's biggest unanswered questions. And Tobey's world gives Marvel a particularly brutal solution. Unlike the X-Men's universe, that reality could be represented by a single returning hero, Spider-Man. If the incursion cannot be stopped, the X-Men don't need to defeat an army. They only need to eliminate the universe on the other side of the collision before their own is destroyed. That also explains why Wolverine and Deadpool could be involved without immediately becoming villains. They aren't necessarily invading Tobey's world because they want to kill him. They could be carrying out a mission they believe will save millions of people on their own Earth. Wolverine planning the bomb while remaining behind would then turn his confrontation with Tobey into something far more tragic. Two heroes fighting on opposite sides of a disaster neither of them created. And there is one detail that makes this theory even more disturbing. Professor Xavier watches the destruction from a distance. If the X-Men really ordered the attack, Xavier wouldn't be watching a random universe die. He would be watching the consequence of a decision his team made because they believed there was no other choice. So the first battle of Doomsday may not be good versus evil at all. It could be one universe deciding that another universe has to die first. Doom needs Reed Richards. Doom doesn't need Reed Richards because Reed is simply the smartest hero in the room. He needs him because Reed may be the one person capable of solving the problem Doom cannot solve alone. The new Doomsday footage makes their rivalry impossible to ignore. Doom directly confronts Reed, while Sue's narration describes Victor as the smartest person she knew before tragedy transformed him. That matters because Doom is not being presented as a villain who can simply overpower everyone. He is being presented as an intellect capable of understanding a crisis on a multiversal scale. And if the problem is bigger than one universe, even Doom may need another mind capable of seeing what he cannot. That is where Reed becomes essential. Reed has already spent his life solving problems that seem impossible, and the Fantastic Four's entire existence is built around scientific exploration beyond normal human limits. More importantly, the current story places Reed directly inside the multiverse crisis. A recent fan theory even proposes that Doom may be seeking Reed specifically because his plan requires knowledge or technology that Doom cannot reproduce alone. And the alleged plot we're working from gives this theory an even stronger direction. Doom supposedly approaches Reed before the Avengers fully understand what is happening. He warns that their universe is next and proposes a solution to the incursions. That means Reed is not merely another hero Doom wants eliminated. He is someone Doom needs convinced, controlled, or possibly manipulated into helping construct the solution. There is a reason Doom would choose Reed over almost anyone else. Reed understands the multiverse scientifically. Doom understands it through science, magic, and experience. Put those two minds together, and they could potentially build something neither could create alone. That also explains why Doom may initially treat Reed differently from the other heroes. He doesn't need Reed dead. He needs Reed working. And if Reed discovers that Doom's proposed solution is actually designed to serve Doom's final objective, the betrayal becomes far more devastating. The smartest man alive would realize that his own knowledge was used to build the weapon that destroys everything he was trying to save. So the real danger is not Doom defeating Reed Richards, it is Doom convincing Reed Richards to help him win. Steve created Doom's timeline. Steve Rogers may have unknowingly created the universe Dr. Doom needed, and it started with the decision he made in Avengers Endgame. Steve was supposed to return the Infinity Stones and come back to the present. Instead, he chose Peggy Carter and lived out his life in the past. Under Endgame's time travel rules, changing the past creates a branch rather than rewriting the timeline we already watched. So Steve's life with Peggy had to exist as a separate reality. Now, Doomsday has made that decision impossible to ignore. The new footage brings back Steve, Peggy, and their child, while Loki is connected to the same story. The alleged plot we're working from goes even further. Loki supposedly finds Steve in this branch, warns him that the TVA considers his life there illegitimate, and eventually moves his family into the Fantastic Four's universe. That creates a possibility. Steve did not simply create a timeline where he could live with Peggy. He may have created the foundation of Doom's universe. Think about what Steve's existence means. He knows the future, understands technology decades ahead of its time, and has already lived through events that this branch has never experienced. Even if he tries not to interfere, his presence changes the people and history around him. Over 10 years, those differences could completely reshape the universe. And according to the alleged plot, that is exactly where Doom eventually finds him. Doom discovers Steve and his family living in his universe, identifies them as anomalies, and connects Steve's presence to the catastrophe threatening his world. That gives Doom something more personal than another multiversal enemy. Someone whose existence may have helped create the reality Doom is desperately trying to save. Suddenly, Steve's peaceful ending looks completely different for everyone involved. He thought he had finally escaped the Avengers and earned the life he wanted. Instead, his decision may have created a branch that Doom eventually inherited, exploited, and blamed for everything that followed. Steve Rogers didn't just return to the past. He may have accidentally created the timeline that made Dr. Doom possible. Doom steals Loki's power. Doctor. Doom cannot simply survive the collapse of the multiverse. To rebuild reality afterward, he needs something far greater than technology or magic, and the MCU has already shown us one character who possesses exactly that kind of power: Loki. At the end of Loki Season 2, Loki becomes the god of stories, sitting at the center of the branching timelines and using his own power to keep them alive. He is no longer simply controlling one timeline. His existence is directly tied to the structure of the multiverse itself. That makes his return in Doomsday far more important than another cameo. And Marvel is bringing him back at exactly the moment the multiverse is falling apart. Recent footage finally showed Loki in Doomsday, while current fan theories are connecting his return to Dr. Doom's plan. One theory specifically argues that Loki could become the source of the power Doom needs to survive the collapse and create Battleworld. Another analysis points out that Loki's unique position makes him one of the only characters who could plausibly be targeted for a transfer of multiversal power. Now look at the alleged plot we're working from. Loki supposedly becomes a direct obstacle to Doom, only for Doom to reach the TVA and find Loki dead, with his power ultimately being used to create Battleworld. That part is unconfirmed, but it solves a major problem with the theory. Where does Doom get enough power to rebuild reality? In the MCU, Loki is already holding the timelines together. If Doom can kill him and somehow take control of that power, the endgame suddenly makes sense. Doom would not need to defeat every universe individually. He could allow the incursions to destroy them, wait until reality collapses, then use Loki's stolen power to rebuild what remains according to his own design. That also explains why Loki is more dangerous to Doom than another Avenger. Reed can challenge Doom intellectually, Thor can challenge him physically, but Loki controls the very structure Doom wants to reshape. And that makes his return terrifying. Loki may not be coming back to save the multiverse, he may be coming back because Doom needs the god of stories to become the god of Battleworld.